There's been so much learned about how devices need to be designed in order to withstand the environment that they're placed in. A lot of that experience hasn't been used yet because the industry is so new, but the potential is certainly there.
So what we've done in the case of the test site, which we have in Galway Bay on the west of Ireland, is really made it easy for small-scale developers to get a quarter-scale device into the water without having to go through the application for permits and planning and so on and so forth, which can be a killer for a small company that's up to its neck in technology and finance problems and so on and so forth. And this has worked very well, and we're now at a fairly advanced stage of planning for a full ocean located grid-connected test site where full-scale devices will go in 2 or 3 years' time.
The energy comes basically from the sun. The sun heats the atmosphere. The atmosphere then moves around with the heating and cooling and creates the winds. And then the wind then blows over the surface of the ocean and creates the waves.
Who owns the wind?
Who owns the wind?
Who owns the wind? That's a good question. So far, no one really owns the wind. So it really belongs to the group or the owner of the land that the wind is flowing over. So in that case, wind turbines can be placed on private land, and that belongs to the person who owns that land. But that becomes difficult when the wind is blowing over land that's not owned by a private person, and when it's owned by the public or the people, because then everybody has a say in how that land is managed. So offshore, which is basically a public place, it's more difficult to do siting of renewable energy projects because wind farms, tidal and wave plants, they all are being placed in areas where the public has ownership and everybody has a say. And some people are against these projects, and I think today most people are not against them, but even the people who are against them have their say, and they can interrupt the projects, or they can impose their viewpoints, and therefore it takes a lot longer to get those projects done than it does on private land over, say, for a wind power plant on land.
I mean, the Marine Institute has a variety of mandates. Some of them are just straightforward monitoring and collecting the information on fish stocks and so on around Ireland. But we also have a mandate to develop new dimensions in the Irish marine economy in the broadest sense, and to open up opportunities for developing new knowledge-intensive industries, and ocean energy is one of these. So yeah, we're out to proactively try to help this happen.
Water is 1,000 times more dense than air, so the power density in the water flow in tides, if you had a 1 meter by 1 meter tidal mill, then that powers something like about, I think it's 70 or 80 light bulbs, whereas the windmill only powers 3. So the ocean has a much big concentrating effect on the energy density, the wind being concentrated in the waves by the integration over the ocean, and the tides then having the mass movement of the water body with a high density.
Fossil fuels we are going to run out of because there's only so much of those, and they're underground, and we've already gone through many of the supplies that we know that exist. So we have to do something no matter what.